Welcome back, rankers. It is Kiwi Day today. You didn't know that, did you? But my New Zealand friends were the only ones to respond to me this morning when I said, who wants a site review? That's probably because all the Aussie mates were still on the road or not looking at Twitter or whatever else where it's, it's already midday in New Zealand. So today's reviews are for Siobhan and Jason. And first we'll have a look at, oh, by the way, my Kiwi friends hate me doing this joke, but I love it and it makes me laugh. And I've got Kiwi heritage, so I'm allowed to do the joke. What's a Hindu? Lays eggs, eh? Makes myself laugh. No one else. Anyway, sorry about that. Let's get on with things. Let's have a look at Unscrewed first. Now, the first thing, I'm going to do this site review process one on top of each other. So you get an idea of the things that you need to check, first of all, when you're looking at the health of your site from an organic search perspective. Okay, first thing that we do is have a look at the index. Jason's site is a wine site, unscrewed.co.nz, and that's the site there. And what I'm doing at the moment is having a look at what is already in the Google index. And Google's telling me that there's 673 pages. Now, I've drilled down a bit. You can see here I'm at the 55th page of results for this. And what I'm starting to see here, Jason, is I'm guessing duplicate content. And I'm guessing we haven't got canonical tags set up properly in your WordPress install. It is a WordPress install, which is great. But that's something, you may have a few duplicate content issues. The other interesting thing about your site is that, and I'm on google.co.nz here, and one of the other interesting things with google.co.nz is that they don't seem to have the Google +1 button yet, which is a bit rude, but anyway, Google must still be rolling it out. When I simply type your brand name or your main part of your domain name into Google, I'm not getting all the extended site links like we are, say, with the other site that we're going to review this morning. I've just typed in this company, this organisation name here, and we get all these great site links. Now, on closer inspection of yours, and to me that says there's something that Google's having trouble understanding about your site. When we have a closer look at the site, and I'm looking here, and for some reason, you would hope that some of these menu items here would be picked up in site links, but you're not. So I would have a look at Google Webmaster Tools, make sure you get that set up so that you can go and see if there's any problems with site links from Google's perspective and the reason it isn't picking it up. The other thing that we've had a bit of a look at the index, and the main thing to look for there is anomalies. So 673 pages, Jason, is way too many, which I'm suspecting it might be too many. Then you need to look at that. Now, for anyone else, if it's not enough, then you need to go and look at that. Once you've done that, then go and have a look at your site with your key phrases in mind. What are the key phrases? So with Jason, I'm assuming it's New Zealand wine reviews is the main phrase that we need to rank for. And if you have a look at that, so what I would do is you take that phrase and you just look for instances of it on the front page of the site. And we're not getting it there. So straight up, we've got that phrase in the page title, which is great, but it's not anywhere on the front page. We've got variations of that, like wine reviews or restaurant reviews or video wine reviews, but we don't actually have the phrase New Zealand wine reviews. So it's all about consistency in these things. Get it in the page title, get it somewhere on the page, and then get a link to it. I would suggest, with WordPress is, maybe getting a footer menu so that, all the different New Zealand wine reviews are categorized under one section of the site. And the next thing I will look at is what sort of headings have you got on the page. And if you have a look here, and this is just a simple tool, you can just look on the code and do this. What we're looking for here is either H1s or H2s. Jason, in your case, we've got a bunch of H3s. And, whilst video wine reviews and wine news, probably good phrases for you to have. They're in a H3. I would have a look at the theme and the CSS attached to that and see if you can reformat some of these as a H1. Remember, if you're going to use H1s and H2s and H3s, which Google recommends you do, and I recommend you do, because Google does, then make sure you have them in order. Don't have a H3 above a H1. So it's basically signposting the content for the bots. And say, okay, this is the main heading, this is a subheading, and this is a sub of the subheading, if you get my meaning. So they're the main things that stand out for me. Also, Jason, with a WordPress site, one of the things that you can run into, and it's great that you've got video here. Now, I haven't checked to see whether Whammo, who is the radio channel who's doing this, has got related videos switched on at the end of the video. That's a biggie. We'll just let that play to the end of video.
Yeah.
I recommend it.
Yeah, very nice.
I'll mute them,
Yeah.
though. It's lovely, guys, but I'll mute them. And what I'm looking for here is at the end of that video, if you are embedding video on your site, okay, up next, we've got next in the channel, but we don't have related videos. You may not have any control over this, Jason, because you may not have that relationship with Radio Whammo, but I would always just have related videos switched on, because in my experience, we find that it gets the bot out to the site more. So that's one thing you can look at. The other thing to look at too here is when you do that site unscrewed.co.nz, just have a look at some of the cache dates, and the other thing that you can look at with the cache is get a picture of how Google sees your pages. So we'll just go back to that main search here, and we'll just go to your front page. And what I'm looking for is two things. One, when did Google last come out and see the site? And you can find that by going to cached. So we'll just go to the cached. And we can see it came out the 13th of September, so yesterday. So it didn't. So you don't have a problem with Google coming out and looking at the site and visiting the site. The other thing I want to look at is how does Google see this site? What is it looking at? And for that, we click on the text link, text version, under the cached area, and we can see here, these are the things that it sees first. Okay, and it's picking up this bit of information here from the information attached to this graphic, the meta information attached to this graphic. So it's good that you've got New Zealand wine reviews there too, but you really need to get it actually on the page. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Jason. Now we're going to switch over to the site that Siobhan has asked me to have a look at, and another New Zealand site, plunkett.org.nz. Now, once again, let's go to the index, site.plunkett.org.nz. Have a look at the index. Now, up here we see 14,300 results. That's a lot of pages. And when you dig deeper into these results, once again, you go to go to page 40 or 50 or something, you can see here that we're starting to see a similarity in the URLs. And right there, I start to go, okay, what's going on here? There's something consistent with all these extra pages. And you look at the description tags, and it seems to be following a case of a lot of geographic directory type entries on the site. So if we go here, have a look at that page, and we can see now that it's probably got a lot of these sorts of pages. Problems with these sorts of pages that you're going to have with Google is that it's going to dilute the rest of your content. So overall, Google's looking at your site authority for content, and if you have a lot of pages that don't really have a lot of content on them, that can dilute basically the rest of the content on the site. And typically these sorts of directory type pages don't have a lot of content on the site. But that's I wouldn't worry about that too much just yet, because the reason being, when we have a look at, we'll just go to the home page here. When we have a look at the site itself, we can see here that parenting advice is something that this site presumably wants to rank for. And when we go and do a Google search in google.co.nz, pages from New Zealand, we see they're already on the front page, which is great. So, you know, that 14,300 pages, whilst it may be having some effect, maybe in the .co.nz space, it's not as competitive as what you might think, and therefore it's not having a bigger detrimental effect because, you know, the competition above you maybe isn't as hard. So what I would look at first, and once again, you know, do what we did with Jason's site, go and have a look at the front page. Once again, we've got the brand here at the start of the page title. Put that at, I would put that last. Plunket line, I don't know if there's any really good reason to have that in the page title because it's not really appearing in the search results. You can see here it's cut off. So it's not really giving any benefit to people being able to find the phone number quickly, from what I can see anyway. The once again, you know, we have a look at for those phrases on the front page of the site, and I'm looking for parenting advice. I'll do a search for it. Parenting advice. And we don't have that on the front page. So once again, you know, if you're going to put these phrases in the page title, get them somewhere and anchor them on the front page of the site. Also, Jason, going back to your site for a second, the nature of this site is that it's a news site and your content is going to change regularly. Try to get some content on the front page of that site that is anchored there. Even if it's down below the fold here, it says something about this site, and get some keywords and some links to the different sections in the site in there. That way there's a consistency at least, or some anchors on the front page of the site that Google will always know what the site is about. The other thing I forgot to mention with your site, Jason, is that I had a look at the robots.txt, and this is the file, for those of you who don't know, that tells all the robots that come out to your site how to behave, basically, and what they can and can't look at. You can see here you've got user agent, disallow, and then nothing. That's not really doing anything. If you had a / in here, it would have blocked robots from everything. So we'll speak to your web dev, but you know, when we redevelop sites and build sites for that matter, sometimes we'll disallow the robots to go into certain sections of the site because it just creates confusion for the robot. You might just want to have this that says allow / disallow, and then block out the directories that maybe you don't want it to go into. In the case of Plunket, you guys don't have a robots.txt at all, so Google doesn't know what it should or shouldn't be looking at, and so it just looks at everything, which is why you might have 14,300 pages. But the main thing with Plunket, you know, really, you just need to get some of those key phrases that you've got in the page title actually on that front page. Like even car seat rental, or car seat rentals, I should say. Remember, singular and plurals are always different. We've got rent a car seat here. Why not make that, oh, and that's a graphic anyway, so Google can't read that information anyway, but why not have a equivalent text version of that menu down here somewhere for people who, you know, even for the people who use screen readers, the visually, no, not the visually impaired, the vision impaired. I said visually impaired once and someone said, what, are they ugly? The vision impaired. Thank you, Bruce. So why not get some alternate menus down there and make it, you know, more universal access, if you like, and get your keywords in those URLs, in those links. The other thing, once again, let's have a look at the H1s, H2s, and we can see here that you're suffering from the same sort of issues that Jason's site was, and that is we've got this graphic as a H1, which I can understand why it's done from a design perspective, but it's not really doing anything for the authority of the site or telling Google what the site's about. Same here, H3s, all H3s through here. And of course, all these things here, they're all graphics. So, you know, if you go and have a look and see how Google views your site, I'll just go back to Google. And, oh, the other thing, Jason, those site links, this is what, I showed you this, I think. Yeah, I did show you this. This is because Google knows that these are the constant anchor points to the site. For some reason, it's having an issue with your site. But if we go and have a look at the case results of Plunkett, we can see here once again, 9th of September, so not too bad that it's coming out on a regular basis at least. And we have a look at the text version, and you can see here that, of course, you know, all those graphics are gone. So a lot of those phrases that you would have in those graphics, and you can are lost. They're not appearing anywhere to Google. So that's it. No problem using graphics for you know, for visual, for look and feel and all those thoughts, design reasons. But you know, make sure that you get some good alt information that tells Google about those graphics and tells Google what they are. Name the graphics, put the keywords in the graphics. And this goes for everybody. It's quite often overlooked. Quite often, a web designer is using an editing package. They might batch a lot of their images, and they'll all come out with numbers as part of their file name. Make the file names descriptive. It gives Google some indication of what that image is about. And if images are important to what you do, you might be selling products, fashion, whatever, make sure you set up for image search as well, because that then is another channel into your site. And that is it for today's show. Hopefully that's helpful, and we'll see you all next week. Sweet as, bro.